TIFU by getting a fictional child's name on my arm.
TIFU by getting a fictitious child's name tattooed on my arm. So this is from when I was 18. Ugh. Me and my GF at the time were so in love, you know, like how teenagers are when they've been going out for 2 minutes they think that's it. Yeah. That was me and my ex. To be fair, we had been together for about 2 years and it was longer than anyone else in our friendship group and thought it was going to last forever. We talked about kids, marriage, mortgage etc. and it was, at the time, set in stone. When on the subject of names for kids we agreed on a unisex name, Charlie. To be honest, I wasn't really a fan of the name, no offense to any Charlies out there. So my 18th birthday is coming up and I decide to get a tattoo. I took ages trying to decide what to get and then it hit me, Charlie. I wanted to keep it a secret so I could surprise my girlfriend with it, also my parents couldn't talk me out of it. I went down to the tattoo parlor and booked in for it to be done on my forearm. The whole thing took about 4 hours and to be fair it was a good job. Probably the best tattoo of a kid's name that hasn't been conceived yet I've ever seen. Anyway, me and my GF split up about 4 months after the tattoo. She met another guy, had a child and called it Pete about a year or so after. I still have full custody of Charlie to this day. TBF, I'm kind of glad she didn't call her child Charlie as it would be weirder having someone else's kid's name tattooed on my arm, so that's a win in my eyes. When people ask me why I have the name tattooed on my arm I just tell them I'm just really into Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. It is still weird, but not as weird. People are quite accepting about this over the truth. TLDR, me and my GF were planning on having a child. We didn't. But I got the tattoo on the agreed name before it was born. Then we split up.
JFC, get a dog and name it Charlie. Rolling eyes face.
This is just gold. One of the funniest things I've ever read. BTW, could be worst. I know a dude who had wanted it tattooed on his left butt cheek right before they broke up. Lamau, that may be the worst tattoo idea I ever heard of.
Please 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 let me see the tattoo. Lamau. You can also say you really love Charlie from Always Sunny. How big is it? I had my GF at the time, name tattooed on my hand. It was dark with a lot of shading. I got that shit lasered off LOL. Took about 13 sessions. There's barely a trace. I really have to point for anyone to see it, most of the time they can't. Not even an outline, just a few extremely faint spots. Perhaps invest in tattoo removal?
Get a dog and name it Charlie. When it dies, add the date on there, and boom. Tattoo repurposed.
Awesome name, highly recommended. Me and my son.
I'd just say that I was a little too into coke a few years ago.
I'll tell you though, when you said, fictional, I thought this was going to be that the girl lied to you about being pregnant. So you went out and got a tattoo of the non-existent baby. So I guess it could be worse?
If you read The Dark Tower, you could probably convert that into a Charlie the Choo Choo tattoo.
You're a big Peanuts fan, man shrugging.
There's no turning back now. The only thing to do is to get a photorealistic tattoo of a Charlie of your choice underneath the name. If you're UK-based you can tell people you just love cocaine? Which honestly is the first time that sentence has been a better alternative to the truth. 4 hours? How big is it? Probably the best tattoo of a kid's name that hasn't been conceived yet I've ever seen. Friend of mine from high school found out her mom had an abortion. But would have named it. Name, can't remember. And so she had a picture of a fairy and that name tattooed on her ankle. Mom had forbidden her from having a tattoo in the first place. but my friend thought this sweet gesture would soften the blow. I love her so dearly. But she really doesn't understand people. Tears of joy, tears of joy, tears of joy. Considering Op has posts from just a couple months ago about being a 17-year-old dating a 26-year-old woman. I'm gonna hazard a guess and say this crock of shit. It would be weirder having someone else's kid's name tattooed on my arm. Has it occurred to you that you still have someone else's kid's name tattooed on your arm? If you're into pets, you can use Charlie for that. If not, you can just tell people your childhood pet hamster was named Charlie. I'd rather say I have a cocaine fetish than love Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epicaricast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.